shade of gray, and the scent of damp earth filled the air. Arjun sat on the cool stone floor of the old veranda, listening to the rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain. Beside him sat his grandmother, whom he called Ava. She was watching the water bead on the leaves of the neem tree. Arjun looked up from his school books, a frown creasing his forehead. "Ava," he asked softly, "I see so many people who have studied hard, yet they struggle to find jobs. Why is it so difficult for them?" Ava turned her gaze from the garden to Arjun, her eyes reflecting a gentle sadness. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she watched a dark cloud drift across the horizon. "To understand the present, Arjun, we must look at the seeds we planted in the past," she began. "When your grandfather was a young man, the world felt different. There was a time when people looked at their leaders with a different kind of hope. When your grandfather, Kiran, was young," Ava continued, her voice trailing back into memory, "people truly believed that leaders would protect the country the way parents protect their children. They looked for wisdom and heart." She described a time when a vote felt like a sacred promise, a collective hand reaching out to build a roof that would shelter everyone, from the smallest child to the oldest elder. "But slowly," Ava said, her voice dropping an octave, "the winds began to change. People stopped looking for wisdom. Some began to sell their votes for a few notes of money or a temporary gift. Others chose leaders based on caste or tribe rather than character. Many others simply stayed home on election day, whispering to themselves, 'What difference can my one single vote make?'" Ava reached out and touched the old wooden pillar of the veranda. "When we stop choosing with our minds, Arjun, the foundations begin to rot. One bad leader can steal years from an entire generation. Schools become weak because the money is taken elsewhere. Jobs disappear because the systems are broken. Corruption grows quietly, like termites hiding inside the very wood that holds up the house." Arjun looked at the vast, rain-soaked world outside. It felt so big, and he felt so small. The idea of corruption and disappearing jobs felt like a monster he couldn't fight. "But Ava," he asked, his voice trembling slightly, "can one person really change a whole country? How can my one vote matter when there are millions of others?" Ava didn't answer with words at first. She reached her hand out past the edge of the roof, letting the rain fall into her palm. She held it out for Arjun to see. A single clear drop of water trembled on her skin. "My child," she laughed gently, "look at this. Every great storm begins with one single drop of rain. Without that first drop, the earth would stay dry and the rivers would never flow." She reached out and took Arjun's hand, holding it tightly between her own. Her grip was firm and warm. "Every revolution begins with one brave thought," she whispered, "and every good government begins with one honest vote. It is not just a piece of paper, Arjun. It is your power. It is your voice. It is the way you tell the world what kind of future you deserve." The rain began to fall even harder, turning the garden into a blur of motion. Ava looked toward the horizon one last time. "So when you grow up, don't become a person who only sits and complains about the world. Become a person who thinks, who questions, who votes with responsibility. Remember this: people who sell their vote today sell the future of their children tomorrow." Arjun sat in silence for a long time, watching the rain wash the dust from the leaves. He thought about the schools, the jobs, and the termites in the wood. He thought about the single drop of rain that starts the storm. He knew he was still young, but in his heart, a small seed had been planted. He would never forget Ava's words. He would be the drop that starts the change.